Welcome everybody to Arsenal Fan Circle. This is the Sunday show, and you are all very welcome. Pull up a chair and let's get started. The preseason tour continues in the US, and yesterday I had the privilege of actually meeting up with Gary for the first time and going to the game. So it was really, really good experience. Enjoyed it immensely, and it's always good um, having podcasts with people and then actually getting to meet them. So, the ultimate goal is to meet Stan at some point as well, meet Tony, Alonso, Sam, and everyone who's involved with the podcast as well. And when we get over to the game in London, I want to meet up with some people as well over there. And that's what it's all about: going to the games, enjoying yourself, going, having the experience, and going to the stadium. But I have to say, yesterday's game, taking preseason into context, brings about a few questions as well. More questions than answers probably. And the situation is, do we take it in the context that it's preseason? So, but there was a couple of concerning things. We tried Declan Rice in a single pivot against a top six team in Manchester United with Havertz and Ødegaard. And it has been my assertion since last season, and nothing that I saw yesterday is going to change my mind, that we're going to need to have a double pivot in midfield when we face these top six teams. So the teams I'm talking about are Manchester City, of course, Manchester United, Liverpool, Brighton, and Newcastle. Those are the teams that finished in the top six alongside us. And, it's my belief that Partey cannot, not Partey, but Declan Rice cannot cover all of midfield by himself. And I understand what Arteta is doing, trying to get Havertz moving forward and having five attacking players, but is the balance correct at this point? But with all of that being said, throw some things in the comment section, and we'll get through this one today, the Sunday show. Thank you for being here. Slap a like, throw some comments in there. We'll definitely have some interaction with the chat box today. So here we go. Clock Orange has joined us. Thank you. We did stink out the place. Simple. There are still a few tactics Arteta needs to do better. To find the right balance as well against these top six teams. And I especially feel Manchester United are a team that are going in the right direction. Ten Hag is making the right moves. We don't like it as Arsenal fans, but they are making the right moves. I still believe that we are 9 points better, 8 or 9 points better than that Manchester United team. With all of that being said, Mikel Arteta needs to do better and needs to put the right players out there. Now, we're in the middle of preseason, so I'm not going to go overboard here. But when we get to the Community Shield, we play Manchester City, and when we open the league at home to Nottingham Forest, we need to get the right balance. And against Manchester City, I'd like to have Declan Rice in the midfield with Thomas Partey, and Ødegaard. I believe that's our strongest midfield, irrespective of the price that we paid for Kai Havertz. So, Henry Ray, welcome. Hi, Ray on panel. Clock Orange, welcome here. Yeah, listen, way to go. We got the 520, and it's growing. Slowly but surely it's growing. For me, it's always been about a community of us, a small community that we come together on Sundays and Thursdays and enjoying ourselves about it. And if we've picked up a few subs on the way, it's very, very welcome. And if any of you are out there watching and haven't subscribed, it's obviously cheap, it's free, and you get some great content as well. The Assemble said, "Evening, Ray, I have nothing to say!" ! Sorry your experience wasn't all positive. Yeah, if you saw Gary's tweet yesterday, he summarized it in 30-minute segments. We were excited to be at the stadium for the first 30 minutes. Arsenal turned up and played well. We didn't take our chances. And when you don't take your chances against good teams, you will get found out. You need to score first, maybe against Manchester United, because they're that type of team that can counter. They have good technicians in their side and they're able to counter. I don't expect Rashford to have the season that he had last year, but I do expect Manchester United to be a more well-rounded team. With all that being said, I expect them to fight with Liverpool this coming season for third and fourth place. So yeah, the experience wasn't all positive, but it was definitely good meeting up with Gary and having a whole day full of Arsenal conversation. And we talked about a few other things as well, but mainly Arsenal conversation and the excitement of going there. We did meet up with Lauren and Ray Parler as well. So they were there. We got a few pictures with them as well. Former Arsenal legends. If you know, you know. Can he find the balance? Maybe, but he needs to let go of Havertz in the eight fever. Exactly, Clock Orange. There are 13 or 14 teams in the league that we can play Havertz against. But when we get to that top five, those five teams, Manchester City, Liverpool, Man United, Newcastle, and Brighton as well. I'm going to throw Brighton in there. They may struggle this year due to the Europa League and if they are able to hold on to Caicedo or not. But this is the big question, Clock Orange. Can he find the balance? A couple of other things I was disappointed about, and we can get into. I told Gary on the way to the game that I really expected to see Balogun, following Balogun in the lineup. If you don't know, following Balogun was actually born in the city of New York. He's declared for the U.S. men's national team. He's going to be playing in the World Cup in about 3 years. And I actually thought that this was a perfect opportunity to put him in there in a good lineup and have good players around him, have Saka and Martinelli either side of him. And, let's see what following Balogun can do. We know what he did in the French league, but can he translate that to Premier League? And my takeaway from yesterday, and I see across the pond has joined us as well. We'll get through all of the comments, and you're all going to feed me with content to talk about today. So this will be a very interactive one with you, the chat box. My takeaway from yesterday was that with a perfect opportunity to play Fowler and Balogun, and in New York, in an environment that he knows about, in the city that he loves, that he could have flourished there. My takeaway is we're selling Fowler and Balogun, and we're gonna balance the book somewhat. We did spend a lot of money on Havertz, Rice, and Jurriën Timber. And we'll go through who I thought played well yesterday as well. So throw in comments, questions right at me. Across the pond, Sports Talk, thank you for joining me as well today. Yeah, AFC, how was being with Man United fans and Gooners at Giants, Jets, and making record attendance? Yeah, you've seen some videos of Arsenal fans fighting amongst themselves, basically questioning the seats and the if people were sitting in the wrong seats, and that can get fractious a little bit when you have your team come to town and you have one opportunity maybe to see the Arsenal or Man United in that case, and you really want to have the seats that you bought. You know what I mean? And I think that's what happened. You see few Arsenal fans fighting amongst themselves over seats. I think it can be done in a very more languid way. You know what I mean? It was also a little bit strange to be mixed in Arsenal and Manchester United fans together, and somewhat makes the atmosphere more tepid. A preseason game, you're never going to get a Premier League tempo or feel to the game. But it was a little bit strange being with Manchester United fans, and a word for Manchester United: they are going in the right direction. As I said earlier in the podcast, they're making the right moves. They've demoted Harry Maguire, the captaincy, to Bruno Fernandes. I'm sure Ten Hag is expecting Bruno to get better numbers. I was looking at his numbers last season in the Premier League. Bruno got 8 goals and 8 assists in about 36 games. So every other game he's contributing something to the team, and handing the captaincy to Bruno is an impetus to make him be more connected with the team, score more goals, and have more assists. So Ten Hag is probably gambling a little bit on Bruno Fernandes leading the team, but my thoughts on Manchester United is that they have gotten to third place in the league, and it's going to be difficult, quite difficult for them to progress again and jump into a second place, let's say, or even better, 75 points, which they got last season. Of course, they won a cup that a lot of other teams were frankly not interested in, but you have to give them credit. They won the Carabao Cup. They did get a trophy. And all of us supporting Arsenal, everyone in football who supports their team, um, at the end of the day, it's all about winning trophies. And we had a great season last season, but we didn't come home with any silverware. And we all know this season there can be no excuses. Spending 105 million on Declan Rice, 65 million on Havertz, and approximately 40 million on Jurriën Timber. That we need all of those players to integrate with our present team and formulate new ways of playing. And that could be a little bit what's going on right now in preseason. But also, Mikel Arteta needs to understand um, that double pivot for me is needed in big games. And Manchester United are that type of team who are going to present problems to a lot of teams, not just us. They've beaten Man City last season. They will compete with Liverpool and Newcastle as well in the top four. BX Gunner, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you for being here on your Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. December said it's preseason. Apparently, practice makes perfect. Yeah! Exclamation mark. Let's hope this display isn't what we are practicing. And December going away from the game, you spend a lot of money, and people who go to Premier League games, they spend a lot of money, and you want your players to put in maximum effort and try to win a game. I just felt that Manchester United wanted this game more than us, and that is a bad reflection on us. And Arteta's laid the gauntlet down to them. We're going to have to bounce back against Barcelona and Monaco before we face Man City in the Community Shield. So yeah, let's hope that this was something that Arteta is going to take away assembled. Sunday Fun Day with Ray in the Circle. Thank you across the pond. I was listening to your podcast. People go check out Across the Pond podcast as well. He's covering the World Cup. He's covering a lot of different codes of sports and having a fun time just chatting about it. Laura and Classico, two of my faves. Yeah, actually, whispered, talked to Ray Parler. So, hey, another Ray here, so it's not bad. Balogun better start in the LA in Los Angeles. We're running out of games across the pond. We're running out of games for following Balogun to be showcased if we're going to sell him or to integrate him. And can anyone say with their hand on the heart and say now he's going to be with Arsenal this season? Why not is back? Why not? Good to see you. Evening, Ray. Havertz will even struggle against lower opposition than the 8. He's very inconsistent. I hope you're wrong. Obviously, Mason Mount is going to be compared to Havertz this season. I think it's only fair. And Liverpool fans want to throw Szoboszlai in there as well as a triumvirate to see how all three players fare against each other. and Mount played quite well. I thought Mount and Bruno gave Declan Rice a lot of work yesterday, and it's unfair to ask Declan Rice to cover sideline to sideline in that lone pivot against good teams. You know what I mean? So yeah, why not? We do hope that Kai Havertz will show up against mid to lower table opposition if we're not expecting him to do it against the top five consistently. Taib is here. Big up Taib. Hi Ray, how are you? Are you confident going into the new season? Yeah, I'm still confident. I told Gary, we have to maybe understand how good we are, and have a little bit of swagger. I think it's up to all of us how we feel about the Arsenal. If you want to have that swagger and understand we're at worst probably the second best team in the country, but obviously we're trying to push forward, uh, being the best and looking at what Man City will do. They're going to be bringing in Guardiola from Leipzig. So Man City will be the favourites going into the season, but we're going to be very close to them. And the only way we can beat this Man City team is by winning games right out of the gate. When the Premier League starts, we have to win 7 games on the bounce. I'd love to get 21 points and go and face City at home in October, I think it is. Um, with those 21 points and with the possibility of getting a win over City and force them into a position where they really, really have to chase us and make it very difficult for them. Obviously, the fourth game in the season, we're going to be seeing Manchester United again um, at the Emirates. Now, looking at our schedule and the fixtures type, we have a very, very hard last 10 games, and 4 of those are away from home to very difficult opposition. I think Man United away from home is one of those. So our Arsenal fans, we're going to be on tenterhooks right till April and May again, where the team will have to prove they're better than last year or the year before in closing this thing out and being more consistent than winning 3 games, drawing 3 games, and losing 3 games in the last 9, because that's what we did. Henry Ray Baker, we have Barcelona next. It should have been Rashford for captain. I believe there's a feeling out there that it's hard to give the captaincy to a forward player. Um, so giving the captaincy to a midfielder or a defender is actually more fashionable and better. You know what I mean? Uh, So, across the pond here, I'm going to get through your comments more and more, so keep them coming. Watch along across the pond, sports in the Armory TV, and Wednesday LA Cronkies match. Check out across the pond. He's doing some watch alongs for all of that stuff. Selling more goals out of the team when we struggle for goals in parts of the season. Hey, dumbasses, Balogun and Pepe. That's a minimum of 18 Premier League goals alone. I agree with you. I'd love to have Balogun as an option after Jesus. And we saw Eddie Nketiah yesterday, and he couldn't come short for the ball and be able to retain it and hold up the ball and pass it. He was losing the ball to Lisandro Martinez, losing the ball to midfielders, and getting muscled off the ball when he came short. He didn't present a lot going behind defenders and making runs down the channels either. Um, he didn't have a lot of chances. He had that one chance when the ball was slipped down the side to him, and he pulled a cross shot off, which was wide of the goal and not in front of our players going forward toward the end. Um, the It's a little bit worrying the faith that Mikel Arteta is showing Eddie Nketiah right now, and it seems like Mikel Arteta does not value what Balogun can bring right now. Does not trust it, and these are all kind of worrying signs for Mikel Arteta. I'm generally supportive of what he's doing, but I need to see signs of him changing. The likes of Eddie Nketiah was on the field for 70 minutes yesterday. Um, 60 of those minutes as centre forward, striker, and he played 10 minutes on the left. We have seen enough of Eddie. We have seen enough of Gabriel Jesus, and we as fans need to see what Balogun can do for us. So it's my contention again. I'll say it. I think Balogun's going to be sold, and we better get a good price. 40 to 50 million English pounds is needed for a very, very good prospect in Balogun, who is going to become America's striker, for the World Cup. If he prospers, if he progresses in the next few years, he's going to be that marketable player, and we're going to be watching from afar Balogun maybe prospering and doing well, whether that's in on the continent or in England. How much have you sold to offset the buys? Well, so far, Granit Xhaka has left for 23 million. We will be able to make sales of probably 70 to 80 million, so we probably will recoup 100 million back. Having spent over 200, we'll be able to recoup about 100 of that. And then again, we may obviously go again and buy one or two more players. Kudos is a player we're looking at right now. Melvin, thank you for joining us. Can you come out with all different tactics, players, etc.? But we didn't. Yeah, you can come out with all of the different tactics, players, etc. But we didn't have the energy, and that's telling, Melvin. You're exactly right. We didn't meet the intensity that Manchester United had and Ten Hag had given those players going out. You've got to win the game in the trenches first. Football is about winning your challenges, maintaining control of the ball at times, holding on to the ball and leeching some time away. When you have a goal lead like Man United had, and they held on to the ball better than us. And at times in the second half, they had to defend. And you have a 2-0 lead, you defend it very well. And that's what they did. A couple of those tackles were very meaty. The one from Martinez on Bukayo Saka, we've seen that. And that's something that Bukayo Saka is going to face up and down the country this coming season. And we need the referees. We had American referees. They were maybe not aware of the intensity of the rivalry of the Premier League that Manchester United and Arsenal hold, that history as well. But that shame on them if they didn't know that, and then they didn't adjudicate the game as well, or referee the game as needed. Ray, what does playing Rice and Havertz together represent to you? To me, it's a lack of respect for the opposition team, as if you are Arteta assumes their midfield is weak, easy to play against and through. That's right. You were showing the opposition that you're thinking Declan Rice can cover sideline to sideline, or they're opposing 2-8s. I thought Mason Mount and Fernandes played around Declan Rice a little bit there, and he's trying to integrate into a new team as well. It's only his second game. Havertz had some nice touches, but we're looking for end product at the end of the day for Kai Havertz. We will suffer if we continue playing him at number 8. Very, very interesting if we spend 65 million on Kai Havertz, and if he's not doing well, do we sit him on the bench? Do we make him watch Trossard? Do we make him watch maybe Declan Rice playing as that left 8 when Partey's playing number 6? Ray, now that you've seen an Arteta team live, what did you make of his decision making to solve basic problems? I feel like he rotated his players, and this exercise is about preseason and rotating your players, and I don't think he actually did very much to solve basic problems. Playing Tomiyasu as a left back was an issue as well. Um, the first goal came from the goalkeeper kicking the ball down the channel where Tomiyasu was. Tomiyasu was out of position. Rice had to come and help, and then he was out of position when the ball was played inside for Fernandes. Players were on the wrong side of Fernandes. Um, Defenders didn't come to meet Fernandes that far out. Sometimes defenders allow midfielders to take shots 25 yards out. And finally, Aaron Ramsdale will feel like he should have saved that. Should have got to that. So Mikel Arteta didn't really make any in-game decisions other than rotating players and asking those rotated players, Jorginho and Partey, to push. Emile Smith-Rowe to push and try to get back into the game. Clock Orange said, I feel he's playing a lopsided diamond, but I do not know if that will work against good teams. The lopsided diamond, well, with the three, and maybe you're including Jesus as well. Declan Rice at the bottom of that diamond. Diamond is not going to help when he gets overrun in midfield. And we're definitely going to need... We saw the value of Thomas Partey coming in. Mount's a hard-working player suited to a Klopp system, and Minnie Henderson. Havertz and Mount are in very different teams. Yeah. I just don't want the narrative to be that Mason Mount is doing better than Havertz, but we may have to be prepared for that because I think the quality in our team is much higher than Manchester United, so Havertz will not be seen as much. Mason Mount will be required more and more in Manchester United's midfield, and he may get more action. He may get more... Good afternoon, Spencer. Mount, Havertz, they are very different players, why not? But the comparison is going to be there. Two former Chelsea players moving to two teams that are up and coming in Manchester United and Arsenal. Ruben Diaz made 0 hours last season, leading to their goals. We need to do the same. If not, this season will eat the club alive. Yeah, Clock Orange, we definitely need to reduce the amount of goals that we are conceding. We score a lot of goals, but we let a lot of goals in at the Emirates especially, and we play too open. And that is one of the things that we need to look at this season. Should Mikel Arteta be a little bit more pragmatic, play a double pivot in midfield against these top 6 teams, and try to not concede as many goals. You concede a goal, you concede 2 goals, you have to score 3, and that's putting a lot of pressure on the forwards to get goals each and every time. Enjoy the ride, definitely indeed. Why not say, well, Ray, in contrast to Arteta's belief, if the idiocracy of Rice and Havertz is to play out through the season, they don't have 55 games to click. They need to click now. Instead of 55 games, why not they need to click in 5 games, And those 5 games are, 3 of them are basically preseason games. Barcelona, Monaco, and then we get to the Community Shield, the third one, and then the first 2 games, Nottingham Forest, and I think it's Fulham in the next one. So yeah, things need to click quickly. But this was just Rice's second game, his first full game for the club. Definitely had a good time with Gary. Gary does like all of us. Gary does like when Arsenal win. So after 30 minutes, it became disappointing. The only thing that we as Arsenal fans could clap is if we got a free kick in our favor and the referee. So yeah, Arsenal did not offer us much after 30 minutes. Mr. Tom sounds jealous, definitely. Hold on, Mr. Tom Leeds. I hear Tyler Adams out, and now the Leeds 49ers. Mr. Tom 49. All right. Let's get through a few of this one. Spencer said, Jesus Ferreira looks to have driver's seat, and that is probably pushing Balogun to want to leave. Yeah, to get game time. Shakti received 0 game time yesterday. I was so confident, Spencer, that the game was set up there for Balogun. And I think all of us here would agree Balogun would have shown us more than Eddie Nketiah did yesterday. And it's kind of the soul destroying for a player when you're watching an inferior player out there in Eddie. Sorry, Mr. Tom, I did say that. We need to see Tony and keep Balogun. If KC have any business sense or football acumen in the management structure they hired. If there is a way to put Eddie on the market or get somebody interested in Eddie, sell him for 20, 25 million, Balogun could be the second striker. I'll let you know when the transfer window shuts. Definitely. There's going to be a lot of activity still in transfer window, and Arsenal's intent must be to move some players on. Jesus all round Baloguner. We're wearing the same jersey shirt, right? And I just ordered the new red one, red, white, and gold. Saliba to King William. Yeah, Saliba was imperious yesterday. Played really, really well. There was a couple of instances you would have wanted him to try to carry the ball out. Man United press forced us to go backwards a little bit. Saka and Urian Timber combined really well down the right hand side in the first 30 minutes, presenting the opportunity that in the end fell to Martinelli. It was a Timber slipped Saka inside through the fullback. Saka pulled it back. There was a shot. Shot was saved by the keeper. Rebound came to Martinelli, and Martinelli's follow up was straight into the keeper's arms when really he should have just tried to lift it into the roof of the net. So Martinelli had the two of our best chances early doors. Another one with a shot over the bar. Saying all of that, Anthony really should have scored before Martinelli's missed chance as well. But then we lost out to individual errors through Ramsdale and Gabriel Magalhaes. So lack of concentration, lack of preparation, lack of intensity. Yeah, I said it. Lack of preparation. The players clearly were not as motivated as Manchester United, and it kind of was. It hurt. It was irritating that you're leaving the stadium having lost 2-0 with no real chances, no real goals scored by Arsenal, and looking far inferior to that team. Even though we know when we go back to the fourth weekend of the season, we'll be playing them. We should be superior to them at that point. But Mikel Arteta's got to figure out that you cannot do a single pivot against these big teams. Saka and Trossard look mid-season form already. They're moving. Trossard is a player you can always rely on. So technically sound, close control, is able to hold on to the ball and take care of it. It's just a pity that other players around him, were unable to work with him. Has anyone seen Kieran Tierney? Is he still in Arteta's cellar dungeon? He came on at halftime, why not? And he looked motivated to stop the rot. We were losing 2-0 at the time. And his thoughts were probably like, let's not concede another goal. He made one mistake where Manchester United got through on them, but for the most part, Kieran Tierney played really well. He's playing hard. He's trying to show what he's doing. Now, at the end of the day, if that means he's showing himself for a move, who could blame him? Who could blame him if he wants to move? He's now behind Zinchenko. He's probably behind Kivior in that position as well. And I think we missed Zinchenko as well yesterday. We're talking about Declan Rice being all alone in the middle of the park. We really need Zinchenko linking up play from that left-hand side and joining him as the inverted role. So, listen, we'll see what happens with Kieran Tierney. He may well move on to Newcastle. And, we will wish him well. You can't be afraid to sell some of your players now and get a good price for the player. When we got Kieran Tierney for 25, I'd let him go for 30, 35 to 40, definitely. We got beaten the same manner we did in September at Old Trafford, the long ball. Exactly, Spencer. Gary and I were talking about that as well. And we had Lokonga in midfield at Old Trafford, and you just can't play Lokonga in that kind of game. Partey missed the game. We got caught out through a couple of mistakes, and it looked bad. A 3-1 defeat looked bad. The intention this season is to go north of the wall, go to Manchester City, go to Anfield, go to Old Trafford, go to Newcastle again, even Sheffield United. The teams up north, Burnley, going to give us good games. They're going to give us good games, and we're going to need to be ready, willing, and able to take them on. Across the pond, let's see LA, maybe a Partey, Rice, Partey in the midfield, methinks. That is our strongest midfield. You put Partey in the number 6. Let's see if Rice can play that number 8 alongside Erdegaard on the left. Dare I say it? Are we trying to figure things out after Granit Xhaka has left? I did say it. The elephant in the room. Granit Xhaka. Are we trying to figure things out after Granit Xhaka? There will be that kind of realignment, trying to rework that left 8 situation. Ross Morgan, great of you to join us also. How are we doing? Not happy with losing 2-0. If you worry about having a good preseason, we are having a mixed preseason, a draw with Nuremberg, a win against lower opposition, let's have it right, MLS All-Stars, and a defeat here against Premier League opposition, a team that will be dangerous to everybody. And I welcome the Premier League race being a 3 or 4 horse race. I think that's going to be good. Man City will drop points. Everyone's going to drop points. And I think that's a good thing. We can't have Man City running away with things again. And there has to be some teams out there who can face up to Man City. So Arsenal failed to adjust to the terrible failure on our part to not adjust. You can't blame the field, in my opinion, Spencer. Both teams have to play in the same conditions. Timber is bottom of the diamond. Declan Rice, left center midfield. Erdegaard right, and Havertz at 10 behind the striker. That would be interesting. I heard something earlier about Trent Alexander-Arnold possibly playing in that number 6 role as well for Liverpool. Do you mean Tommy was inverted like Zinni normally is making our defense overstretched? Yeah, Tomiyasu was coming into midfield and he played quite well, but obviously he's using his left foot. His left foot is not as superior as his right foot. So there was some good balls out from Tomiyasu to Saka, Bukayo Saka. Playing Erdegaard and Havertz didn't work for me. I agree with that, Russ. Havertz showed a couple of nice touches, but we need more from him, especially if we're going to mention the fee and the wages. I think the opening game for all season is going to be an eye-opener. There are so many eye-watering ties. Liverpool have to go to Chelsea. We don't know what Chelsea are going to be. We've seen Chelsea beat Brighton 4-3 in a game that some people were saying, he's got a tune out of Mudryk. Pochettino's got a tune out of a few players. We don't know what Chelsea. Chelsea's an anomaly this season. They are not going to finish 12th or lower again. But I also don't think they're going to finish in the top 6. Certainly not the top 4. So Chelsea will be somewhere between 6th and 10th for me. I see Pochettino it'll be a mark of his coaching abilities to be able to get those players into a system and a rhythm. So yeah, Liverpool play Chelsea will be a tough, probably a good one actually to play Chelsea first. Man City will have to go away to Burnley, and company is waiting for Man City. The company is going to be there to keep Pep company. And of course, we get Nottingham Forest at home. Revenge should be a dish we're going to serve on the first day of the season. Eddie can't do much without the balls, lads. He's a top lad. Listen, he was getting played the ball, Tom, and he was not. You didn't send the link for this one. You want a link to jump in? I will send it to you, Sam, for sure. Um, just didn't know if you were available. Kieran Tierney was trying pretty hard, but Nketiah was not helping well on that wing. Yeah, Eddie is just playing rubbish. Wakanga going back to company to join Burnley. We can see it happening. Exactly. Uh, how's your women doing with transfers and the fixtures? Have only just been announced. Do you think they will do better to win the title from Chelsea? We got Alessia Russo, so a good player from Manchester United, as it happens. So I do expect the ladies to do well this season, as well as I'll drop you the link, Sam. Then, so yeah, I do expect the Arsenal men and the ladies to prosper this season and do well. All right, let me just copy the link here. For Sam. Okay, let me do this one. Hold on. Bear with me, everybody. Ay, 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 ay. Keep putting your comments in there, people. We're going to make this a shorter one as well. So Sam is going to give me his comments as well, his thoughts. But yeah, it was a lot of fun meeting up with Gary. We got to see Lara and we got to see Ray Prowler as well, former legends. So it was good. Okay, Sam, I'm gonna drop this in here for you. Grab that, Sam. Join me. Okay. All right, let's get through a few more comments. You could run a back three with Saliba, Gabriel Rice, White with Partey and Rice at 6 with Odegaard and Havertz, 100%. The other thing I want to talk about is we're playing Gabriel and Saliba a lot in this preseason. A lot of things we want to see. A lot of things we want to see Mikel Arteta learn from. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining, being
Yeah.
wingman today.
Thought I'd join you there. You're all by yourself. You looked all alone there.
All lonely, all lonely. Me in the chat box
We can't
and
have
you in
that.
there as well. No, thank you. I always appreciate that when people feel sorry for me here all alone. And you hear my voice just going, croaky, croaky. After
No,
a
you're
little bit
right.
of shouting yesterday, from the stands. So, Sam, what were your thoughts on the game? And can Arteta find this big game balance?
I think it's always difficult, first call it proper preseason game, because Nuremberg wasn't really a proper preseason game. The MLS All Stars was really just a bit of a fanfare, wasn't it? It wasn't really a proper
Mm-hmm.
game. They weren't very
Mm-hmm.
good. So yeah, playing United was really the first decent team we've played preseason. It's always going to be tough when you're trying people in new positions. I think it's too unfair to just judge that one game. The players, they're not fully fit yet. They're not fully ready to go. I think it's very unfair to just judge on that one game. But we did see some things we don't want to see, of course. For me, what I didn't want to see again, which we seem to be seeing, a sort of regular intervals, is these individual errors, these individual mistakes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Ramsdale. Again,
Not
he's a very
concentrating
good
enough.
he's a very good goalkeeper. He's done so much good for us, but he does have those mistakes in him that I would love to see him get rid of. That goal he should have got that goal. He should have got his hand firmly on it and saved it. And then the big mistake by Gabriel, which
Mm-hmm.
we've seen him do, a few times a season. I want to see him get rid of those mistakes, but unfortunately, he still has them in him, and it's those individual errors that cost the goals, right? That's what it is.
Yeah. Big chances
Overall,
taken.
overall, I thought we had some decent play. We had some decent, parts of the game where we were, on top of them without creating really much, but play wise, we were on top of them. But yeah, they were just more efficient than us, and we made those mistakes, and you're experimenting. Arteta's experimenting with people in new positions. He's got trying Havertz in the Xhaka role, in the 8 role. We'll see how that works out in the next few games. But yeah, no, overall, of course, it's not a promising game to see for us. But again, it's like I said, it's just the first real preseason game, so I don't think it's reason for everyone to start jumping ship and setting off all the alarms.
So for me, Sam, I'm supportive of Arteta and what he's been doing for the club. You look back 3 or 4 years to that 3-0 defeat at the hands of Man City, and we've come a long way. Changed a lot of bad players into good players. Mustafi and Socrates to Saliba and Gabriel. But I know what you're saying in terms of preseason, but what we're seeing and what I'm seeing is a track record of Arteta doing the same things in the big games, and we 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 got some very good results through the season at home to Liverpool, um, at home to Man United. Albeit we won that game in the last few minutes with Eddie and Kedia, and a lot of other results. Did the double over Tottenham, beat Chelsea twice, but
Yeah,
Man City we got taken apart. With just a single pivot. So there is a track record of Arteta trying to force this single pivot against top
yeah.
teams. And that's what I'm fearful of, Sam. You know.
Well, it's the same when you look at it from a tactics perspective. The tactics didn't work very well either in terms of we pressed again too high, leaving all that space behind us. And Ten Hag has realised that's the way he can play us.
Mm-hmm.
He plays the ball directly behind us on
Yep.
our high press,
Yep.
and again it caused us many problems. Rashford again, that's Rashford's bread and butter. The behind the defence, ball
Over the top.
direct we can run onto.
Yep.
That caused us a lot of problems. You saw he did it against Gabriel. It caused us again a lot of problems. So this is the thing with Arteta. He needs to realise that now that that's not working, we need to do something a bit different, right? That's what we need to see from
Yeah.
Arteta. He needs to adapt to these certain games against certain teams where we realise playing our normal way of football is not working.
Exactly. And you need that balance. It's the balance he's playing with, Sam. He's
Yeah,
trying to force another player into a forward position. Erdegaard playing that 8-10 role. Now he wants a left 8 playing an 8-10 role, and you have
yeah,
3 players already up front. He wants 5 players going forward, and he wants 5 players holding things down at the back. And against the better teams, you're going to get found out. As you said, A lot of teams are playing balls over our defenders' heads into the channels,
Yeah.
especially on the left side, where maybe they feel that Gabriel Magalhaes has more problems. And of course, Zinchenko is our better left back at this point in time. So we're going to see that a lot this season. Teams playing balls over heads, and we need to show that we can deal with that, Sam.
Yeah, this is what really we should be focusing on in the preseason, being able to counter that. You're right, because I think we're going to see this coming season that more teams are going to play that way, knowing that that's a more effective way of playing us. Because we like to press high, we like to have that high, up the pitch focus, and the way to counter that is to directly play, a long ball or a direct ball in behind us to
Yeah,
players running on, maybe along the wing or maybe even through the middle. And good teams who have those players who can do that, they are going to be able to do that effectively against us. So I'm just a bit worried that this coming season we're going to see our tactics become a bit more, countered a bit more effectively by these other clubs, especially the bigger clubs. So we're going to have an answer for that. We really do. We need to have a different way of playing, and that's where maybe sitting a bit deeper, having, like you're saying, more of a double pivot type of solution might be a bit more effective. We'll see. This is something Arteta needs to figure out. And again, I just think it's really strange, as the Sembles pointed out there as well. Arteta's still playing certain players out of position. It just makes no sense. Like Kivior and Tomiyasu, playing them
hmm
as left backs or left sided on the defense, in the defense, just makes no sense. It just really doesn't when you got a Kieran Tierney. I think he's worried a bit about how Kieran Tierney is a bit like one dimensional. He doesn't give you all that lovely inverted
yeah,
inside outside
yeah,
stuff to get from Zinchenko. But what Kieran Tierney gives you, he gives you stability, he gives you a good work rate, and he gives you a good defensive. It gives you a good someone who can play well defensively on the left side of defence.
yep,
And so for me, Kieran Tierney needs to be playing these games when Zinchenko's not available. This is where Kieran Tierney needs to be playing, and that, for me, that's just baffling by Arteta that he doesn't do that.
yeah. I saw Kieran Tierney coming out live in the second half, and he looked determined, Sam, to
Yeah,
put in a good second half. And whether he's doing that for a move, and we couldn't blame him if he wanted to move to play well and get himself in the shop window
yeah,
to go somewhere else, or if he's like always, I think he's always tried to compete for his position. And I feel last season that Arteta didn't use him enough when we needed to
exactly.
lock some games down.
Yeah.
Zinchenko is great. Zinchenko could be used to get us into a lead, but Tierney can be used also to keep that lead and hold it for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, Zinchenko is very much an offensive, attacking type. Wing, call him a wing back or an inverted winger or
Yeah.
inverted wing back or whatever you want to call him. Um,
Cheers,
he
Spencer.
gives us a lot going forward. The way he links up and comes inside, and we see the play he has with Jesus and Martinelli. It works really well. Um, so he has been very important for us. But at the same time, defensively, we've seen him make so many mistakes. Both positionally,
Yeah.
missing tackles, not being where he should be. So this is the thing, we need to be able to strike a bit more of a balance, in my opinion.
Exactly.
And that's where Kieran Tierney does that. Okay, like I said, Kieran Tierney doesn't have all the offensive abilities and attacking abilities as Zinchenko does, but alternatively, he is miles better positioning himself, winning tackles, and being a left-sided defender. So for me, I'll definitely be giving Kieran Tierney more of a chance. But like we just said, I think Arteta focuses very much on how Zinchenko works in the attack.
Yeah. And joining what could be Declan Rice in midfield. Maybe it looks a little bit better when we have Zinchenko in the team. Then that would allow Havertz to do what we want him to do, what Arteta wants him to do. But again, it is a very progressive, and you're trying to win games at Man United, and I think maybe the best if you go to Old Trafford, you go to Anfield, you go to St James's Park. Discretion has to be the better part of valor. I think when you first of all need to remain tight and keep them from scoring as much as possible will allow us to go the other way and get a goal or two and maybe win games at Anfield, win
Yeah,
games at Old Trafford, Everton. We didn't get a win at Everton, and that's been historically difficult for us to do as well.
yeah.
Anytime we go north, it seems to be difficult,
Well, it
Sam.
is difficult. They're difficult grounds to go to. Liverpool traditionally is a ground, we don't get many points from, and that's not just us. That's most teams in
Yeah,
in English football.
yeah.
Same at Old Trafford. It's that, and that's going. I think we're going to have again. We're going to be seeing like St James's Park turn a bit more that way as well. I think now
Yeah.
with the emergence and improvements coming at Newcastle. And of course, we've got Etihad at City, which has just become a fortress. They don't lose games there, do they? So,
No, no.
that's something we need to start doing as well. We need to start being able to beat them there as well. But just quickly, I think we need to learn to play two ways of football. We need to have two tactics in our locker.
Yep.
We need to be able to play high press, attacking intensive football when we're playing teams we know we can dominate, who we know we're better than, that we should be on the
Hmm.
front foot with. And at the same time, we should develop an effective strategy for playing Liverpool away, for playing City away, for playing Manchester United away, where we can sit deeper, maybe more with a double pivot, and not be so fluid attacking in terms of how much we attack, but when we attack, it's effective.
Hmm.
It's less is more basically. I think we need to develop that type of tactic where we're solid. We're not really giving up that much behind us or giving up that much attacking wise against us, but we are effective when we get the ball when we do. And I think that could be a solution we could possibly see with Rice and Partey if they're set up the right way as a type of double pivot in midfield. I think we'll have enough attacking, ability ahead of them to be able to compensate and still create things. So that's what I want to see happen. But at the moment, it seems like Arteta has this blueprint he wants to imprint, where we just have this one way of playing, and
Yeah.
and that is it. If we do what we're supposed to do, we're going to win football games. I think it's that type of Arsene Wenger
Mentality.
type mentality.
Yeah. Do you think he can change looking and peering into this upcoming season here? I'm keeping this banner up. It's been here for about over a year.
Yeah,
Tony and I talked about this way back at the start of last season. To be or not to be progressive or pragmatic, and to tag on to what you were saying, Sam, I do believe Mikel Arteta wants to win and understands probably we need to win close to 30 games in a season to overcome somebody like Man City and win the
I think
league
we
for
need
the
to be
first
able to
time
do
in 20
both.
years.
That's what I'm saying. I think we're going to be playing. Talk about the 38 game season. I think we're looking at playing like 28 to 30 games on the front foot. We
Progressive.
can have that
Yep.
high press, high
Yep.
intensity, fun loving, great entertaining football. But those other 8 to 10 games where we know we have to do things the right way, I think we have to sit a bit more deep and
Yep.
soak up the pressure more and counter attack more, than what we normally do. 'Cause I just don't, because you see the way we play against Manchester United now, the same we did against City last season. If we press high, we're just getting we're just
Picked off.
we're getting done behind.
Yep.
They're too skillful. They're too the De Bruyne's of this world, the Bruno Fernandez's and Christian Eriksen's of this world. And with Rashford and his speed and his speed and ability, they're going to get behind you. It's going to
Hmm.
be their counter attacking is going to be so effective. So you need to counter that, and that's what we need to see from Arteta, that he learns that. If we go to Old Trafford and Etihad, or even like playing these guys at
Sheffield
home.
United, Burnley.
Even if we play like I'm talking about the old like the Manchester Uniteds and Manchester Cities and Liverpools.
Mhm.
If we're playing those teams the same way, where we just press high and try and win everything up front, to me that shows Arteta's not really adapting to that. But
Yeah.
we'll
Naive.
see.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page. And I was talking to Gary yesterday at length. The whole day we were talking Arsenal stuff.
It looked like you
So
had a good time there, Ray. I just want to
we,
say that. It looked like the pictures I saw were great. Seeing you with Ray Parler and Lauren, that was great.
yeah, listen, that was nice. Gary wanted to go into the stadium. So Gary, you would have missed out on all of that stuff. Meeting
Yeah,
legends, Lauren and Ray Parler.
great
Yeah, we
stuff.
walked around the you get through security and then you go around the outside of the stadium, and there was a couple of things there. A couple of free bags giveaways, and
Great.
then lo and behold, there was Fremy was there. Frimpong, who's
Yeah, yeah,
tagging
yeah.
along. He was there, and Ray Parler and Lauren were a bigger draw. So
Great.
we were lucky that maybe in the US people, and maybe this, I'm sure people know, a lot of people know Ray Parler and Lauren.
Oh, he's a
But
he's a lad, isn't he? I mean, he loves the fans, and he goes around everywhere, and he enjoys himself. He enjoys a drink, as we
yeah,
know. So I think he enjoys those tours.
yeah, definitely. So we did that. We got some pictures. We saw probably a replica Invincible trophy. We had a picture there.
Yeah, I saw that. It was good.
Can't have been the real thing.
I doubt it's the real thing. Yeah.
Went in, got some food, and about 20 minutes later, when we were going up the steps to get to our seats, we looked down, and there was no Ray Pollard, there was no Lauren, so they had they had closed up shop and moved on,
Yeah.
probably going into the stadium,
Yeah.
to see
That's
the game as
great.
well. So no, we had a good time. We actually got ourselves into the wrong seats, but we didn't get into a fight when the people
Oh
came
God.
for their
Yeah.
seats.
Yeah.
If I don't know if you saw it, if the fighting that was going on there, Sam.
Well, do we know why? Was that why?
Yeah, it
Why?
was seat allocation. Like
Oh
somebody
God.
was sitting in their seats, and if you look at that video, it's the 86th minute. So the game's almost over, and you're trying to find your seat. I don't.
Oh God.
Some people come late to these things, but yeah, had a good time. Got to meet Gary, and of course, it's going to be start of a checklist, a bucket list now to go to London, meet up with you, meet up with Tom, meet up
Yeah.
with a
Yeah.
few
We must
people.
try and get that done.
Uh,
Yeah. Definitely.
try to get to Vancouver. Maybe see Stan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe Tony's ranch. You know what I mean? Who knows what
Well,
could
if it
happen?
like, I mean, I'm just saying in the future, if they go back to the US and maybe they go over to the West Coast again, maybe up to Washington or Oregon or something like that, then it's going to be close to Stan, isn't it? And
Yeah,
if you had the opportunity to fly over there or something, I don't know, you probably wouldn't want to do that. But anyway, I'm just saying, I think Stan would probably do it if they came over to that
yeah,
part of the country.
yeah. Very much so. Very much so. Something we got to do. Um, to be or not to be. So yeah, the progressive or pragmatic. Mikel Arteta just has to learn um, to be pragmatic and pick up a point at the Etihad. A point at Anfield is not a bad point. You get a point at
No,
Anfield is not a bad point.
no,
How,
definitely not.
how do you see the landscape of the Premier League right now? I was telling
Yeah.
a United fan, I don't like it, but United are going in the right direction.
Yeah, because Ten Hag's got them playing quite well, right? You got to give credit where it's due. They have a lot of problems off the pitch. They've had their problems within the team. But Ten Hag still got them playing quite well. He's a good manager, Ten Hag. He's proven himself to be a good manager because what he's done with Manchester United is not an easy job.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got them playing quite well. So, give credit where it's due, in my opinion. We'll have to see what they're going to do now in the transfer window, if they can manage to strengthen any further. So far, they haven't really done much.
They got that goalkeeper, Onana.
That's it, They've got
And Mason Mount.
Johnny Evans and Mason Mount. They're not really.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really going to, shit your pants really when you see them on the other side of the pitch.
Mr. Tom wants us to change the topic right now. He doesn't like this Manchester United ways.
No, I'm just saying, but I think Manchester United will be better next season than they were this season. But it's like, what's going to happen with Liverpool? They're struggling. Chelsea, with such a big unknown factor, you have to think that with Pochettino that they are going to improve. But how much will they improve? Because that team at the
Unknown
moment,
quantity.
they've been struggling so much with the way they gel together. You just have to see how much can they get. Newcastle will probably improve a little bit. And then you've got City as City. You can't really say much about City. The only thing about City is there are some question marks there because Mahrez is gone. They do have bids in for a couple of the other players.
Crystal
Bernardo
Palace player.
Silva, Laporte. They are being looked at, at going, at leaving. So there could be a bit of a shake-up there, which means, they could potentially harm them to have that shake, even though they've got good players throughout the squad. But you know what I mean? When important players who have been an important part of your success, all of a sudden 3-4 of them go at the same time, it can be difficult to continue the same way. So that could leave a little door open next season. But then we have to step up, right? I mean, because I think Man United are getting better, Newcastle are getting better,
Liverpool
and City are there. Not quite sure about Liverpool, to be honest, but
you need a 6, don't they?
But we need to see how they do. But at the moment, they're struggling with their midfield. So we need to step up. This is we need to do the additions we've made to this squad now, and we just need to really step up because it's going to be tougher. I think we're gonna have more. Let's put it this way: I don't think City are going to be harder to beat. I think they're going to be pretty much where they were last season.
Yeah,
but I think we're going to have more competition for that title.
Yeah. So, you may the title winning points maybe in the 80s.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in the 90s.
High 80s.
High
I think
80s.
it's in the high 80s.
Yeah.
And I think maybe potentially you're looking at, in my opinion, you're looking at Manchester United and Newcastle. I know it sounds crazy, but if they continue on their trajectory, you could maybe even see Newcastle come in, throughout the season. They might tail off at the end, but I think Manchester United could give us a bit of a run.
Yeah, I think Manchester United, we've always found them difficult to play against under Ten Hag, and that will continue. I said to Gary, I like Ten Hag. He doesn't really get involved in anything high profile. He just likes to go about his business. He doesn't get into fracas on sidelines and stuff like that. It doesn't over celebrate like maybe Mikel Arteta does. But here's a question for you from the assemble. Do you think Balogun is the right striker to use against Barca as they're a possession based team? We might find it hard to create chances. I have a feeling Vieira will play also.
For me, I'm going to be honest now. What I would like to do, if I was the manager of Arsenal in our current situation, what I would do is I would say to Nketiah, get on the bus to Florida or whatever. We don't need you anymore. And I would play Balogun because I want to see Balogun. I want to see what he can do. I think Balogun deserves a chance. I think it's terrible that Nketiah keeps playing ahead of him when Nketiah has done F all. He has done F all so far this preseason.
Yeah.
And since those games he did well,
the turn of the year.
A few games when Jesus was away, and then even then after Jesus come back, he just disappeared again. Nketiah does not deserve this chance. I want to see Balogun given a chance. Let's see how he plays. Let's see what he can do.
Why didn't he play yesterday, Sam?
Oh, God knows. I don't know. I ask you, why did Tomiyasu play left back? Why did Nketiah play? These are questions that only Arteta can answer. And they're questions they're valid questions.
He said something about he wanted to give Nketiah more minutes.
More minutes? The guys they can't be playing so much.
Yeah.
No. Balogun needs to play. He needs to start. I want to see what he can do. I want to see it. I want to see him again in the next game as well. I want to see what he can do. If he looks good, if he looks promising, okay, we might keep him and sell Nketiah, maybe bring in someone else instead of Nketiah. But in my opinion, Balogun needs to be given a chance now.
And what better place than New York, his hometown? He was born in New York.
Exactly.
You know,
Not that
he's
it,
going to
not that
be.
that really mean. Not that really. I don't like. I saw someone commented the other day. I don't really think that means anything to Arteta. All of that surrounding stuff.
Yeah.
But
Vibes. I thought
in terms of
Arteta's a
merit,
vibes guy.
but in terms of merit,
Yeah.
I just think Balogun now deserves to be given a chance from the start because Nketiah does not deserve it.
Didn't he have Holding be a captain one game last season because it was his birthday? So, you know, I think Arteta does have
Yeah,
these feelings for certain players. You know what I mean?
he
PK said,
definitely has his favourites,
mm,
and right now it looks like Nketiah is one of them. Right? You
"Yep,
know,
yep." And it's going to be interesting to watch how Nketiah goes this season. GK said, "Feeling we're disassembling our title challenge midfield with an overhaul and ruining our chances of challenging." I'm going to ask the question: the elephant in the room, Sam. Are we missing Granit Xhaka right now in this transition?
mm, because of the way the way he sort of became an important part of the way we play. Yeah, you could probably say we are missing him, but I
Thanks,
don't think
Henry.
we will be. Yeah, nice to see you, Henry Ray. Have a good one. Yeah, I was just saying. Yes, right now we are probably missing him a little bit because of the way he developed and the way he became an integral part of the way our team plays. But he is not irreplaceable. In my opinion, it's not going to take a long time, hopefully, but I think within a few games we will see this sort out. We've played again. This is what annoys me so much. This whole social media world we live in now. This knee jerk, completely delusional, reactionary world we live in at the moment, where we've played one proper preseason game,
Mm-hmm.
and Kai Havertz has played one full game as a number 8 for us, and everyone's given up already. Like the guy, he's been playing 25 games and can't do anything. It
Mm-hmm.
is completely beyond all sense and sensibility. We need to give the guy a few more games in that role to see if he can do it. After a few games, like 4, 5, 6, 7 games, we don't see any progress. We don't see anything happening. Okay, you might want to start looking at things differently. But for me, I can see why Arteta is trying it, because Havertz does have the ability to press high, tackle the ball high, and when it comes to with the ball in his feet, he is literally 100 times better than Xhaka was. Seriously, if Havertz could find some form
He had a
with the
couple of
ball,
moments. Yeah, good
if,
moments.
if Havertz can find some form with the ball, Havertz will give us 100 more percent ability on the ball than Xhaka had,
Right.
and he can score goals.
It's really about
Havertz can score. We saw that against MLS.
yeah,
Havertz can also score goals. He knows where the goal is,
yeah,
but he just needs to be. He needs to get some confidence and get some form going.
yeah. And I think it's just about giving the platform. We'll come back to this one, BX, in the second one. I think it's about giving the platform to a player like Havertz. So if you have Declan Rice in midfield, you definitely need Zinchenko to come into midfield
Yeah,
and build up that left
yeah.
side. Or
You
if you
need
don't
to.
have Zinchenko, you would need maybe a Partey in there as
Yeah,
well alongside
you
Rice.
need to have a bit more support there for Rice. Absolutely. No, I think.
What was missing from our display yesterday, Sam?
Yeah, what was missing that what was missing was the
Intensity,
concentration and
intensity. Yeah,
the ability to concentrate on what you're doing. It's quite sloppy, and those individual errors were terrible. But again, we play players out of position. Tomiyasu playing on the left side of defence did not help us. It meant we were out of shape. We were doing things wrong. Like you said correctly earlier, Ray, when you was by yourself, he was putting Rice out of position because Rice had to go and cover where he shouldn't have to cover.
Mm.
You know, that it affected the way we play. So but that's an Arteta decision. That's something that Arteta has to take on his cap and realize, that you just can't do that. You can't keep doing these things. Put someone there who at least can play the position, so Rice can do what he's supposed to be doing. You
Yeah.
know.
BX, here we are. I believe he was coming back. I think talking to Balogun here. I believe he was coming back to Arsenal and about to get chances, but his PR team and agent have advised him poorly in his actions and comments. So this whole thing about Balogun, right? We as fans see this player who scored 21 goals in League One, right, in France.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on in the background. We don't know about
No,
his
there could be a lot going on
agent.
around him.
I
Yeah.
think his agents are part of his family,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. What
Could
his
be.
PR team is doing, and if Mikel Arteta is choosing, disciplinary, if he's swaying towards the discipline rather than the talent, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
in the
There could
handling of
be. There
Balogun.
could be things like again, we are not there behind the scenes with the team, day in, day out, on the training pitch at Colney or wherever they are now in the hotels and their training facilities. There could be a lot going on there behind the scenes that we don't know about. There could be things off the field that are an issue. There could be attitude problems. There could be other things. We don't know. We really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel it's strange without knowing these things. And again, that could be, what I just said could be a reason why. But based on not knowing any of that, just not really knowing what's going on, just based on pure what we see with our eyes and what we know, and based on what a meritocracy, merit-based system should be, I just think Balogun should be starting games and given a
Mm-hmm.
chance to see what he can do.
And we definitely, Sam, did that come across to you? As we didn't have a physical focal point of our attack.
Yeah, because
You know?
Nketiah just wasn't. It wasn't there. He wasn't really. He's not. He's not that type of striker that comes deep and can hold the ball up. And Nketiah is more of an in behind guy, more of a poacher,
Mm-hmm.
more of a forward.
He needs
Forward.
those balls being pulled back from the sidelines,
Yeah,
from the end
forward
line.
facing. He's a forward facing, hold the line, poaching. He likes to stay up front, get in behind. That's the type of game Nketiah plays. Where Balogun, he can come deep, he can hold up the ball more, he can influence play a bit more. He's stronger. He's
Yeah,
a stronger player. He's got more physical attributes. So that's why I want to see him play, and that's what I see Canterbury already. Big up Riddy in the chat saying Balogun not starting in New York surely means he's getting sold. Maybe that's what's going on. But again,
seems that way.
I don't know. If he's not getting sold, then yeah, we need to see him play. It's difficult. It's difficult to know really what's going on, isn't it?
It's tough. Maybe we have a difficult individual, a player who's above his station a little bit in Balogun.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just missed the cycle of us getting really good, and Eddie was a couple of years ahead in his development, and he got on the train, whereas Balogun is maybe missing the train, and there is probably a sizable portion of funds that need to be recouped as well. We have to sell
Yeah, we have to sell
players,
players. We have to sell
and
players.
he represents a big chunk of it now. If Partey's not going to Saudi, he represents a big chunk of change
Yeah,
for
there's
us.
talk of Inter, isn't there? There's talk of Inter Milan wanting Balogun.
Yeah.
Maybe Balogun. Sorry, but maybe Balogun is one of our people who are going to be sold, and that's why maybe he's holding him back, as Riddy said. Maybe he's holding him back so he can be sold. Maybe that is what's happening. We don't know.
Samuel said, in my opinion, the system we're using doesn't seem to suit the players we have brought.
I think we need to give it more chance. He assembled.
Yeah,
We need to
let
give him more chance. I mean, come on, this is the
we
first
let
full pre-season
everything
game.
like settle in, and we'll know
Yeah,
more after 2 more games, and then we will definitely know after the Community Shield when Man City will want to win that trophy. Arsenal will
yeah,
want to win that trophy as the curtain raiser of the
yeah.
Canterbury Gunner said, Ray, hope you and Gary enjoyed the game despite the result. Enjoyed meeting up with Gary. He's a good bloke. And he was happy for the first 30 minutes, but then I was sitting beside a guy who was repeatedly, and as the game went on, it wore him down. His happiness was high, and Arsenal made it go pretty low. And Eddie Nketiah playing 60 minutes as striker and another 10 minutes on the wing. 70 minutes total for Eddie Nketiah playing. Did not make Gary any
Again,
happier at all. You know what I
again,
mean?
it's decisions like that just don't make sense. They really don't.
Yeah. Yeah. So Arsenal offered very little, and Gary likes to be happy when he
Yeah,
goes to Arsenal games,
yeah.
as many of us do. It would be interesting to find out how many goals our strikers score inside the box, particularly the 6-yard box. We probably don't score those scruffy goals inside the 6-yard box.
No, we're not really that type of team, are we? You know, we try to play a bit more, pretty, score a bit more
There we
pretty
go.
goals.
And that maybe the one time when Eddie had the chance, the ball was slipped down the side from Erdegaard to
Yeah.
him, and it was a shot. And Gary, in his usual way, was like, he said, that was a pass, right? That was a pass. And Gary knew that was a shot. He was just saying, that was a pass. Because it was 5 yards wide.
I'm embarrassed with Nketiah, to be honest, that he's at Arsenal and we're playing him. I'm embarrassed. I really am.
It's
Look at all the other top 6 clubs. Do any of them have a forward that's as crap as him? No, they don't.
no,
No.
nope. Even the Brighton lads, Danny Well. Would you have Danny Welbeck back over
I'll
Eddie?
tell you what, even though Danny Welbeck isn't much, he's still better than Nketiah for me.
That's what
He's
I'm
still
saying.
better than him.
You know, Brighton, I think finished 6th, and
He's Nketiah he's just oh. And you just know that when the season starts, when we're playing Nottingham Forest at home, he's going to be in the squad.
Mhm.
We're probably going to play with Jesus instead of him, which we should.
Yeah.
But you just know that Nketiah is going to be in the squad. We're going to have him again.
Yeah. We missed chance in the first half as well. Martinelli should have scored 1-0. Should have lifted that up into the roof of the net. He hit it straight
we
at
had
the
a couple of
keeper again.
chances, didn't we? You know, we had a couple of half chances, but it was just overall, it wasn't really a great game. It wasn't really flowing.
Shaw played well for them. Lissandro Martinez played well for them. And a horrible tackle on Saka, which referees need to become more aware of this butcher from Amsterdam, as he was called. And I think United are a team that are going to pick up red cards again this season. They had a couple with Casemiro last season, and they do have ill discipline. They're a trenches team. What I like to say, they like to fight in the trenches, and they get involved in physical stuff.
They got some physical players there, and they probably will pick up some cards.
They also have technicians as well who can engineer some goals for them.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Eddie Elneny holding Cedric in Arsenal kit ever again. I'm sorry, but it's past due. They move on. I'm noticing BX is getting more hardcore.
I agree with him.
Yes.
I agree with him. This Cedric, honestly, he's like a Veruca that will just never go. He's just.
You don't have a seat, Cedric. You don't have a seat in the room.
And he's like, "Oh, I want to be here, guys. I want to be here. I want to be here and try and get my spot back." No, mate, you're finished. Go.
I'd have Alexis Sanchez back in a heartbeat. And this feeling, Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, we actually lost twice yesterday. We lost in the penalties.
Yeah, we lost the penalties as well. Fabio Vieira, another guy who needs.
I had no confidence. I had no confidence he was going to score.
But you just knew Fabio Vieira was going to miss that. The thing is, this Fabio Vieira, we need to have another long, hard look at him as well. He's like, please, are you an Arsenal player? I don't think so. I think Fabio Vieira is someone we need to sell to generate money. Get some money back on him.
Turner was there, the goalkeeper, the backup goalkeeper.
Yeah,
was there, and I really think, Sam, we're going to sign off in a few minutes here, but I really think that Turner should be substituted on in cup games where there will be a likelihood of penalties looming, because for Christ's sake, Ramsdale cannot catch a cold.
I'll tell you what, you raise a good point there, Ray, and that's Ramsdale. He needs to work in training. He needs to start working on penalties. He needs to start working on penalties, because David Seaman will tell you the same thing. It's about training and looking for the you see the signs of where the player's going to go.
Yeah.
And David Seaman helps out our training now. David Seaman became a penalty specialist. I think that Rambo, he needs to really focus on penalties going forwards in training now, because he has to improve. He is terrible at penalties. He lets in he let in like 99% of penalties. It's not good enough.
I'll tell you what as well, for England, if he's going to get above Pickford, I'm sure Southgate is looking at the penalty comparison.
Of course, he's going to look at everything, right? He's going to look at every area and compare them, right? And the one area where Ramsdale is really short is definitely penalties.
Gary and I had no confidence that he would save any one of them, and you're looking for a professional footballer to hit the post or hit the ball wide for it not to be a goal. In tournament play, we're going to come up against a situation this season where we're going to be playing penalties in an FA Cup game or a Carabao Cup game. And it's just something. Turner will probably take those games as well, Sam. So
that's the thing. In the cups, like League Cup and early rounds of FA Cup, maybe. Turner will be in those games anyway, as you say. But I'll tell you what, if we're in a late round somewhere, or where we know penalties can be a factor, if I was Arteta, he won't know, because he doesn't. I don't think he would do it. But if I was Arteta, I would leave a substitution available to substitute in Turner. Because Turner can save you a penalty or two.
Yeah, and this all started from in the World Cup, wasn't it? The Dutch brought in a better goalkeeper to handle penalties, and went through on that situation. And Sam, thank you for joining me today. Is there anything else we want to touch on today? You want to mention?
No, I don't really need to touch on anything. It's up to you. It's your boat.
Well, you are my esteemed guest for these few minutes, and thank you for joining me.
I think we covered some interesting ground there, and it's going to be interesting to see now how we bounce back against Barcelona. Hopefully, we'll play a better game. I just think we need to all calm down and relax, and these really over the top reactions on Havertz and the way we played. That's it. Our midfield is completely finished, and our midfield is ruined. Based on one. Mid-season game, one pre-season game where we lost on. By the way, we lost on individual errors.
True. Ramsdale and first team players, Ramsdale and Gabriel Magalhaes as well. These are players who are going to start for us, and I think it's concentration. And we were beaten by very often the will to win is there in these games, and Man United had the will to win.
I was actually surprised by how well Manchester United played. I thought they were a bit further off where they were. They came in that game and they looked, a bit more prepared than what we were. They forced us into those errors and played a decent game. I thought they were a bit further away from being where they were, but that's where we need to step up now.
We face them. Yeah. We face them in about 6 weeks from now, Sam. The fourth game of the season.
We need to be ready against Nottingham. I'll tell you, when Nottingham Forest comes to the Emirates, Nottingham Forest, they're not going to be there to just lie down. They're going to make it tough for us.
they're not just showing up exactly. We'll stay for a couple more minutes and we'll get out of here. Are you also concerned about Jesus, or do you think he'll turn up when the real thing begins? I think he'll turn up, and I think he'll get more than 15 goals this season.
I saw in the first game, Jesus, again, this was against the MLS and all of that. I thought he looked really sharp, but again, you're playing the MLS.
Yeah.
Yesterday he was playing with Nketiah and playing a bit more out left. Sometimes in the middle, they were changing roles a lot more. It's difficult really to gauge. I think Jesus now he's like more ready to go. He hasn't got that injury. Everything. I think he's more prepared now. I think he potentially is going to do a lot better for us this season.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think he could have a breakout season. Let's keep Eddie Nketiah as far away as possible from those games. Ramsdale needs some proper competition for his spot. This will help him improve. I don't think that there's many clubs out there that have two premium goalkeepers, and that's just the state of goalkeeping in the Premier League. Riddy's off to Wembley in 2 weeks. I thought Emile Smith-Rowe showed up pretty well yesterday. Kieran Tierney showed up pretty well, and Trossard is a fantastic player.
I think Trossard at the moment is our real, he's the unsung hero, to put it that way. He doesn't get the accolades he deserves.
Exactly.
He is a real solid player. Not only is he so versatile, I mean, the guy's playing well in any position you put him in, but he scores banging goals as well, all over the place.
Yep.
He's a really an unsung hero at the moment, and I would actually like to see. We'll see how it goes now the next couple of games, but I would like to see, depending on if anyone else doesn't step up, but I would like to see Trossard start games. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I think he needs to start football games. I think he deserves it.
What position would you like him to start?
I think Trossard has shown he can play just about anywhere from the 8 role up to the front, three positions.
Yeah, I agree.
But for me, if Havertz doesn't really work out the next couple of games, I think he'll give him the next couple of games to see how that works in the 8 role. If that's not working, then probably start against Nottingham Forest with Trossard in the 8 role, probably.
Yeah, that's an uncomfortable conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, because the only other position you can start, I'm talking about starting him in, is either you're going to start him as the false 9, which you wouldn't do now Jesus is fit. You're going to let Jesus play,
or on the left,
and then, or you're taking out Martinelli, who's looking really good. So the only viable option you're going to have is the 8 role.
Yeah, embarrassment of riches, but Mikel Arteta is the one who's going to have to make it all work, Sam. And exactly. we're not getting excited about preseason, right?
No, it's preseason, right? We've got to remember. I mean. Last season, we had a fantastic preseason. Everything just really worked well. We were buzzing. We were clicking. We looked sharp. And then we took that into the start of the season and had the best start ever, basically, to a season we've ever had. That's not going to happen every time. We can't think along those lines. That's always going to happen. But then when you just look back just a few years, preseason's never really mattered. It really hasn't. Preseason's been about getting players fit, looking at players in new positions, what can they do?
Yep.
That's what preseason's for. You're not looking at preseason as how many points we're getting or how many goals we're scoring, or what are we doing, like it means anything. It never used to mean anything. We used to tour Austria and Germany and play all these tiny, crappy little teams.
10-0.
No one used to worry or think about anything about that.
Yeah.
We didn't care until we came back and played the first game of the season. That's when we started to care. But now, all of a sudden, a preseason game in New York, when we're not really, fit or ready to go, all of a sudden that game's, oh my God, the season's done. It's finished. We don't have a midfield.
Yeah.
People need to, again, this is this whole social media, immediate reacting stuff. We need to get perspective here.
Yeah. No, good words. Thank you, Sam. It's about, as Gary would say, to quote Gary, there's levels to this.
Yeah,
And last season in the preseason, we played Nuremberg. We
yeah.
played MLS All Stars, I think Orlando or something. We played really well against a bad team in Everton, Chelsea, who were a bad team at the time.
We
And
always and we also now we've stopped because we've got started to go on tour everywhere, right? But traditionally, just a few years ago, we did it for many years. We would always have a friendly against St Albans, and we'd have a friendly against Boreham Wood,
yeah,
two of our local teams in North London. We would play them friendly games against them. But no,
yeah,
when we played Boreham Wood and we played St Albans, you didn't see people go, oh
yeah.
my God, we didn't score
And
20
I think
goals against St Albans. That's it. We're finished.
And I think, like you said, I think Gary showed me the US market now is like this is really big for Arsenal as well.
Yeah.
And so we finished second last season and we raised our profile. And as a consequence of that, probably our preseason dictates we play at Manchester United and we play at Barcelona, these glamour preseason games, which, may be a precursor to what happens in a Super League in the years to come from now. Who knows? Assembled real quick before we go. What positives did you see? Which you basically, I think the Assemble is saying we didn't see many positives, right?
Well, to be very honest, yesterday I didn't really see many positives apart from I thought Trossard looked pretty good. Saka looked okay again. But apart from that, there really weren't many positives, to be honest. It was just not a great game for us.
Partey stepped in, did okay.
Did okay when he came on. But no, just not a great game for us. Just one of those games, we're not going to play well every game. And it just didn't really go our way yesterday. Those individual errors were very disappointing because I really wanted to see them disappear, but they haven't. And that's worrying to see that they're still there. So, yeah, that was a bit disappointing. But let's forget that now. Let's look to the Barcelona game. We have to take the Barcelona game a bit more seriously because we're playing Barcelona and we want to, we don't want to, be embarrassed against them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I think Barcelona, I don't know exactly where they are in terms of their fitness and everything, but they're not going to be anywhere near their best.
Some kind of sickness was going through their camps. They had to cancel.
I haven't seen that, but they're not going to be anywhere near their best anyway. So, it's going to be one of those games where, we could probably get something out of it and we'll see how it goes. Now, if we go and beat Barcelona like 3-0, what's everyone going to say? Then, so we're going to win the league now. Are we going to win the league? Again, but, you can't really get that much from these preseason games.
Exactly. Really. Thank you, Sam. We have to keep everything in context. Mikel Arteta has an embarrassment of riches, and he needs to use them wisely, especially when we talked about pragmatic and progressive. We need to be a little bit more pragmatic against the top 6 teams, and we'll go from there. But thanks everybody for joining us here on the Sunday show. It was a solo Sunday show for a little bit, but thank you to Sam. You dropped in.
No, it's good to come on and chat to you.
Good time I had with Gary, and maybe tomorrow on Gary's show over on DWTT. He will talk a little bit more about the trip because probably you're going to have a trip show tomorrow. Anyway, hope everybody has a great weekend. Sam, hope you have a great evening over there
you too.
in the UK. It's getting warm here. What's it like in the UK?
Opposite, really. Here it's getting a bit cooler here at the moment. We'll get a bit more rain and wind, but I think that's going to change again soon. I think we're going to get warmer again soon.
All right, boys and girls, everybody out there, be good, and we'll see you on the next one. Barca up next. Mikel Arteta fix up a little bit.